problem that they aren't good at taking their foot off the gas pedal. That is, even if a neighborhood's really taking off and gentrifying and displacing people, a lot of typically programs like yours and many other cities don't have the ability to say, okay, we're going to ease up. We're going to redirect that money to other purposes that still need help because this area is doing okay now. Same problem with TIF, same problem with residential abatements in many cases. So now that I've depressed you, the good news is that we have more sunshine on this. And Michelle and Julie and other people in the education world know quite a bit about this because we've been talking about it for years now. This obscure body called GASB, which sets forth the rules by which school districts and cities and counties must keep their books and report to Wall Street and to the state auditor and comptroller and so on, issued something called a statement on tax abatement disclosures 6 years ago. And in that statement, it says that cities, counties, and school districts, if they lose revenue to corporate tax abatements and programs like these, must report the revenue loss in their backward-looking financial reports. And when we analyzed this data from all over the country, we found in Ohio and Missouri and Illinois and lots of other Midwestern and Southern states, especially, lots of school districts losing lots of money. On a per student per year basis, we found almost 150 school districts that lose more than $1,000 per year, year in and year out, even despite the state equalization offset formulas that may exist in some places. I wish I could give you the numbers for Cincinnati tonight, but I've been back and forth a lot with my staff and with Michelle and Cedric ahead of tonight, and I don't want to show you the numbers that have officially been reported yet because I don't trust them. I'll just be honest with you. I'll just be that frank with you. Some things are missing. We think we know what they're missing, and we're going to make some inquiries with your school board and your city to try to flesh out the numbers. But I think I would mislead you if I gave you what currently exists in the public record, because I don't think it's accurate. I'll just be honest with you. We know that, for example, the Kansas City School Board is very much at loggerheads right now with the Kansas City City Council over reining in abatements in that school because the majority black and brown school district is losing almost $2,000 per student per year, while some majority white suburban school districts are losing less than $100 per year. And the then superintendent of the school district publicly called the system systemic racism. And I think he's correct. So just to review points I'm making here, your school system is overly dependent on property taxes. Property taxes are the most affected kind of revenue by your abatement program and by your tax increment financing or TIF program. When those programs are used, the most harm to public service is public education. And we think your city and school district are not up to par reporting. They need to disclose more accurately and fully. This has been an issue in the last 3 contract negotiations and the teacher strike in Chicago. It's a hot button issue in the recent school board elections in Columbus. It's an absolute red hot issue in the state of Louisiana, where teachers and parents have united around reining in abatements there to great effect and some terrific victories playing out there now. And I'll just say one other thing about you as education advocates, and that is you are the ones crusading for a really good business climate in Cincinnati, right? Think about our labor market and our economy today. The number one thing companies say they're looking for when they choose where to locate or where to expand is the availability of skilled labor. And if your community doesn't have an adequate supply of skilled labor, you'll never make the short list. As well, when companies say we might locate here or we might relocate here, the first thing their staff says to them if they're facing relocation, being moved somewhere is, how good are the schools, right? That's the litmus test for families moving, right? And we know that, of course, that the quality of schools are the proven #1 determinant of real estate values for homes. So making great schools everywhere can be a great equalizer for homeowners and the appreciation that they benefit. Thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to the rest of the speakers.
Thank you, Greg. I do want to acknowledge another council member that came in. Councilwoman Victoria Marks is here with us as well. Unbelievable. Lincoln Ware, the man is here with us as well. Unbelievable. As he always says, unbelievable. Well, we're going to keep everything moving. We got Craig Rosen, who's going to come up, who is a parent of CPS, who's been around the district for a long time, to really give us some history on the transportation issues and how we have ended up here today. So Craig Rosen's going to join us.
Good evening, and I want to thank the CJC for organizing the district, for hosting the space. Our elected officials, we have a lot here, our administration, and most importantly, you. My name is Craig Rosen, and I'm a parent of a high school freshman and a high school senior. I've been active in the district and in my community for many years, examples being former president, vice president, and trustee of Oakley Community Council, co-chair, chair of Neighborhood Business District and Neighborhood Support Programs. I've been active in CPS on multiple schools, on their ILT, on their LSDMCs, co-chairing and chairing. I wrote the first Safe Routes to School plan for Sands Montessori and helped co-create that, which later was adopted into the district's Safe Route to School plan. In addition, I helped introduce Cincinnati Vision Zero to the district and strongly advocate for multimodal transportation. As always, I also championed fiscal stewardship and oversight, and I was appointed for 8 years as tri-chair with the superintendent and president's sellers of CFT for the CPS Budget Commission. I share all this not because I'm trying to front myself, but because I've been active and engaged for quite a long time. And so I think I have some relevance that goes back for a while as it relates to history and why some of the changes have been made in the past and what some of the changes could look like in the future and why there's some concerns regarding those going forward. I currently serve as Spencer Center's parent representative on the local school decision-making committee. I'm here though as my own opinions and here to champion for my community. Regardless of my endeavors, I am a property owner and a parent in the district and have concerns. But mostly I want to acknowledge that many of you here in the room. Forgive me, I don't public speak much anymore, and so please afford me a little grace with my stumbles and my mannerisms. I share this because I want to acknowledge that many people here have done just as much, if not more, than myself. Or if you haven't and you're new and this is your first time, your voice matters. Engagement matters, especially in a district such as ours. I appreciate we're here to advocate for our district while honestly recognizing deficiencies and concerns, but also what's fair for our district while affording respect. Transportation issues are a critical component of any district, especially given ours with school choice, work and economic constraints of our families, weather, roads, lighting, and etc. Transportation does encompass everything of a district though. It's our kids getting on buses. It's hard to ignore seeing them in the community. The visibility of our district is those yellow buses many times for a lot of people who might not even have kids in the district. Busing affects attendance rates, as Mr. Dennison alluded to earlier. If our buses aren't on time, our kids are not getting in their seats on time. And that's critical for families that rely on student transportation. Lastly, budgets and safety. What's the status of our bus stops? Are our buses arriving on time? If they're not, what are the conditions like for our students?
All this is directed by the district. From approving vendor contracts, oversight, to route and stop approval, the Board of Education is presented and votes on or denies those factors. It's important that we engage and have the opportunity for transparent thought and discussion. Recently, it seems only oversight is that the community votes for school levies and board members. Now with longer levies and fluctuating Board of Education administrations, we've had numerous challenges of trying to keep up with who's in what role. Think how many roles have changed over how many times the last 6 or 7 years. As a parent, it's hard for me to know who to contact. If I do contact them, I wonder when I will get a decision that's actually relevant. Consistency is something that this district hasn't done well in recent years. I am a proud parent of CPS. I love my district. I am not here to bash it. I'm here with your help to help make it better. Thank you for lending an ear and maybe your voice. It's especially important. As the district has new management positions, our budgets are squeezed in our schools, and transportation woes and expenditures are even more pressing issue. Slide 2. Recently, CPS has been holding transportation roundtables. I believe the goal of these roundtables was to get engagement and opinion on some of the topics and ideas that CPS wants to bring forward. It seems history is worth mentioning first, maybe triage the current strains, and better engage before we plan for future resolution, all with the support of our community, not at the expense. I encourage everybody to take a picture or visit the CPS website and look at the CPS Transportation Roundtable discussion. There's a brief 10-minute video of some of the highlighted topics that were discussed, and I'm going to share a few of those with you tonight. I'll add that many of my kids are also successes because of our teachers and our staff, who, as if their own, provide knowledge and support on a widening array of issues. And our bus operators are no different. I can tell you all of my children's bus drivers, bus operators' names. I've been very fortunate and very blessed, but I also know that they are struggling. They are struggling very hard. There has also been transformative initiatives bringing much needed change or improvements, but some feel frustrated that years of one direction ultimately changes to another direction, and there's not much planning or awareness for the community to understand why. Some of these examples have to do with Metro, and I myself have advocated and supported Metro for many years. I've been one of the few people down at public meetings speaking up in support of CPS. I have been on transportation committees for CPS in conjunction with Metro initiatives, and I'm glad that we have a new levy that has been passed and our Metro is moving forward. However, we can't discount what has happened because of the Metro contract negotiations with the district. That change, putting 7th and 8th graders on yellow buses, affected the entire district, as we'll see. Next slide, please. Again, you'll see CPS wants your input. They do value it. Next slide, please. Some of the issues that we face as a district is that the district does do more than is required by state. You can see some of the comparisons. The state requires 2 miles of a walk zone. The district does it at 1 mile. There's no specific requirements for 7th and 8th grade. We used to have them on Metro routes. Now they're on yellow buses. You can see the remainder of those up there. Again, watch the video. Next slide, please. This brings us to the numbers the district puts out. I want to point that CPS currently has 36,000 students. Before COVID, CPS roughly had 36,000 students. The district is showing an additional need of 118 buses. Let's keep in mind they're now busing and 8th graders. The district has a relatively similar issue now that we had pre-COVID. Lastly, The district talks about constraints as it comes to locating bus operators and actual apparatuses. Again, that's another topic for another discussion, but a livable wage changes that, and I'll give one example. I am proud that my son is a lifeguard for the Cincinnati Recreation Commission, started as a junior lifeguard, has worked his way up, and now, at almost 18 years old, is a certified lifeguard instructor. He, over the years, has been asked to go to private pools, but he neglected those offers, much to his parents' demise, I guess, because we wanted him to maximize his worth. He decided to stay at his Oakley neighborhood pool and instead champion city council to increase the pay for lifeguards. Lifeguards went from $11 an hour to now over $18 an hour. That makes it affordable for our young adults who are trying to do the right thing to stay within their communities. This is not a different issue. If our livable wage was sufficient, we would have people lining up because this job is such a gratifying job to help transport our children safely, economically, and with a positive smile. Next slide, please. This is one of the problems. This is my phone. Again, I apologize, this was a last minute. This is my phone log for CPS Transportation Line. I do not have to set my alarm at 6 a.m. every morning anymore, because at 6 a.m. my phone rings to tell me my bus is going to be 20 minutes late. It doesn't tell me which child and which bus, but it does tell me my bus is going to be 20 minutes late. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this. The reason is because it took 3 months to get to this point where we didn't get any information that the bus was on time or going to be late. Next slide, please. However,